Truckers turning 250, and it's time to rock out with our forefathers. American-made, battle-ready style for true patriots. Whether you're marching in the parade, grilling in the backyard, or raising a toast to liberty, do it in the gear that screams freedom. Celebrate 250 years of USA in style. Wear your American pride loud. Trendjackers.etsy.com. Grab yours before the fireworks.
From Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, this is Sportsbash, presented by TicketBash.com. TicketBash.com, where memories are made affordable and where you'll never pay a service fee. Get the best seats at the best prices at TicketBash.com. Sportsbash is also presented by Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service, keeping Long Island warm for over 18 years, serving their customers in Nassau and Suffolk with pride, honesty, and integrity. For more information, visit www.liboilers.com. Well, hi again, everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome to Sports Bash. I'm Peter Schwartz, back with you after we were off on Tuesday because of the storm. So because of that, we're back on today. Our regular show will also be on tomorrow to make up for Tuesday not being on the air. And we've got a great guest on tomorrow's show. I'm going to announce it later on in the show, but this is a super guest tomorrow. Very, very excited about this based on the events of this past week. We are very, very excited about a guest that's going to be on the show tomorrow. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. Make sure you're subscribing to Govs Comedy Club podcast channel on YouTube and Facebook. Follow Sportsbash Media on X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to the show on Apple Music, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Coming up on the show, we've got two great guests for you. First up, in about 10 minutes or so, I'm going to welcome in the radio voice of the New York Yankees, Dave Sims. And it's funny how things work out when you get a guest on. You don't really plan on there being breaking news regarding the guest you have on when you schedule it the day before. But late yesterday, the Yankees announced that CC Sabathia, and this was the miniature Hall of Fame plaque that the Yankees gave out at a game last year when CC Sabathia was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. So last night, the Yankees announced that CC Sabathia will have his number 52 retired by the Yankees this season, September 26th. So he's got to wait a while, all the way till Saturday, September 26th, before a Yankee game against the Baltimore Orioles. We'll talk to Dave about that, the upcoming season, as the Yankees are well underway in spring training down in Florida. So we'll talk to Dave. That's coming up in about 9 minutes or so. So we look forward to having Dave on the show. We'll also be joined by legendary arena and indoor football broadcaster Ari Wolfe, good friend of mine, going way back to our days with the original Arena Football League. And by the way, Ari is also, among his indoor football exploits, does a lot of college basketball, college football, tennis. He's a big shot on the tennis channel. And also, he is the preseason TV voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to ask him about Matt Nagy, the former offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, and my buddy, becoming the offensive coordinator of the Giants. And he got to know Matt, I'm sure, a little bit over the last number of years doing the Chiefs games in preseason. So we'll talk to Ari about all of that coming up. And then, of course, we'll have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll have ticketbash.com, what's hot at ticketbash.com, and the Coach's Collectibles item of the week. It's time for the Sports Bash Flash. It's presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. The 6th annual Marty Lyons Foundation NFL Draft Party will be on April 23rd at Great South Bay Brewery in Bayshore. I am very excited to be back for my 6th year as the host of that great event. It's an outstanding night of fun and food and drinks, and get to see the draft on the TVs there in what is a great place to come and watch a game and have a great meal. But it's going to be a lot of fun that night. 6 years running now, we've done that event at Great South Bay Brewery. Marty Lyons, of course, will be there. Kenny Schroy, some other former Jets. Bobby Jackson is always there. Greg Buttle, if he has nothing better to do, he'll stop by and say hello. And there's some other former NFL players. Jay Fiedler is usually there. So it's a lot of fun. There's raffles and drawings and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you go to MartyLyonsFoundation.org and check out how you can get tickets. Speaking of the Jets, the exodus of players and coaches continuing today. The Jets have reportedly traded Jermaine Johnson to the Titans for defensive tackle Trandre Sweat. That will be official in March when the league year begins. So the Jets continue to dismantle the old regime and put a roster together they think will get them out of the doldrums that they've been in. Last night, speaking of doldrums, after 13 straight wins, St. John's lost to UConn last night, 72-40. They were never in this game. They couldn't shoot the ball. They couldn't defend, and they lose 72-40. Exhibition baseball, Mets lost to the Cardinals 6-0. The Yankees beat the Nationals 7-0. And the Devils lost to the Sabres 2-1 last night. The Devils had a big ceremony before the game to honor the Olympic players that were returning, including Jack Hughes, who scored the gold medal winning goal for the United States on Sunday against Canada in overtime. Today, Mets and Astros, Braves and Yankees in preseason play. The Islanders back in action tonight against the Canadians. The Devils are in Pittsburgh. Flyers at the Rangers. Spurs at the Nets. That's what's happening with the Sports Bash Flash. I'm Peter Schwartz, of course, presented. See, I can't get out of the script I would have at WFAN. That's why I kind of did this, but that's not really what I had down in the script. That's just what I did off of memory. And that's what's happening. The Sports Bash Flash was presented by the Marty Lyons Foundation. 5 minutes or so before Dave Sims joins us, and I wanted to make sure I talked about the Olympics on Sunday. And obviously we were not on Tuesday because of the storm, so I really meant to get this off my chest on Tuesday. there is nothing like sports to bring a country together. And when you think about, the United States, and think about the times in the country's history when we were just really down and out. I mean, you go back to 1980 when the USA Miracle on Ice happened, when they beat the Soviet Union. I mean, our country was just, in the you-know-what. It was in the toilet. The gas prices, the hostages, and the country really needed a pickup in 1980. And the U.S. Olympic hockey team back then did just that, and it brought the whole nation together. And obviously, it was beating the Soviet Union was a huge deal for a bunch of college kids to do it. You fast forward to 2001, and 9/11 happens, and I'm not saying the whole country became Yankee fans. They did not. There's no question about it. But at least here in New York, after 9/11, the Yankees' march to a fourth straight World Series did provide some distraction over what was happening in our country. We were going to war again after 9/11, so the Yankees going to the World Series, at least in this area, brought a lot of people together. And then you fast forward to this past week at the Olympics, and first the USA women's team wins the gold medal in overtime against Canada, and everybody's going crazy about that. But then the men on Sunday, they beat Canada 2-1 in overtime, and they win their first gold medal in 46 years. The last time they had won was the Miracle on Ice in 1980. And there's some similarity to what happened this year as opposed to what happened in 1980 with the men's Olympic hockey team, because, again, the country was going through some hard times back then. And you think about where this country is right now. I mean, I don't think our country has ever been more divided than it is. Not that we ever get political here on the show, and I don't talk about politics a lot, if any. I barely talk about it with my wife once in a while, and luckily we're usually on the same page with that. But the United States needed something to bring the country together, and we got it. We got it in a matter of, I guess, 72 hours, whatever it was, 3 or 4 days. The women's team winning, beating Canada, and then the men's team beating Canada on Sunday. And it has really brought a lot of people together. The men's team accepts the invitation to go to the State of the Union the other night, and NHL arenas reopened last night, including at The Rock, where Jack Hughes was honored. And it was just a really, really cool thing. And it brought up another subject, because as happy as we are here in the United States, and again, you talk about the divide that's going on in this country for a number of reasons. We all needed something to smile about and cheer about in the past week, and we got it. But hockey is Canada's game, and I love hockey. Everyone who follows me and knows me knows how big of an Islanders fan I am. But it's listen, to be honest with you, hockey is Canada's game. That's where it really originated, and that's, they've always been, the country for hockey. Now, again, the Soviet Union became a power for a long time, and, people really weren't talking about how big of a hockey country Canada was. But now, all of a sudden, the United States beats Canada on Sunday, and there's so many tears coming from Canada. There's one podcast guy in Canada that is just like crying a river. He's like, don't worry about it. Canada is still, number one for hockey. I'm like, dude, we beat you. It's like, you could, take your lumps. Listen, America was not crying when they lost the World Baseball Classic a couple of years ago. They'll get a chance to win it again this year. But again, look, dude, give the country their flowers. The United States. And it's not just this tournament. You have to remember, this guy was in Canada was bitching and moaning and complaining. Oh, it's just one time. The United States usually sucks at hockey. I'm like, no, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. Think about all the kids that are growing up playing hockey here not just here on Long Island, but in the United States. I mean, the captain, Austin Matthews, is from Arizona. Who plays hockey in Arizona? He's the captain of the U.S. Olympic hockey team. And it's growing by leaps and bounds, the men and the women. So, get off your high horse up there in Canada the United States is a hockey country. There's no question. We beat Canada in the 1996 World Cup of Hockey. The U.S. junior team has had tremendous success, both the men and the women. So I just got sick and tired of listening to these people in Canada complaining about the United States winning. Anyway, we are going to switch gears now and move on to baseball and welcome in our first guest of the program. He is going into his second season as the radio voice of the New York Yankees on WFAN, and a good friend of mine. I welcome back to the show, Dave Sims. Dave, it's Peter. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Peter. How you doing, man?
Doing great. Thank you for taking a few minutes to join us here on the program. Yeah, I mentioned this at the top of the show. It doesn't always work out when you invite a guest on that there was some breaking news that goes along with it. But last night, the Yankees made the announcement that CC Sabathia is going to get his number retired in September of this year, number 52. And he had a tremendous career with the Yankees, leading them to the World Championship in 2009. So when you think of CC as a Yankee, how deserving do you feel he is to get this great honor that the Yankees are going to bestow upon him?
Well, it's one of the great pictures of his era. He's first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a warrior, stood up for his guys. I forget what game it was. There was somebody got hit, and he answered back, and it was going to cost him some money, cost him a bonus. I thought that was showing how great a teammate he is. He's a good dude. I'm very happy for him. I think it's a great honor, no question about it.
Yeah, no question. Obviously, the Yankees signed him before the 2009 season, helps them win a World Series. And I was going to bring up the point you just made about that game where, Yankees were getting hit, left and right, and he needed a certain number of innings to get a bonus, and he didn't care. He was the ultimate team player, plunked the guy. And I think the Yankees wound up giving him the bonus anyway because of the circumstances. And it speaks to the type of person he was for the Yankees, not just on the field, but off the field. That clubhouse loved him.
Well, he's a highly respected guy in and all around baseball, no question about it.
So let's talk about the 2026 Yankees who have gathered in Tampa for spring training, coming off the playoff loss to Tampa last year. There are a lot of people who have said that the Yankees are running it back with basically the same roster. I don't know what they've been paying attention to during the offseason because there have been a couple of changes here and there, but the Yankees did bring back the players they needed to bring back. From your perspective, when you look at the 2026 Yankees and the makeup, what kind of a ball club do you see?
Biggest problem is they didn't beat Toronto last year. I mean, the numbers, you look at the team numbers, when you stack them up against everybody in baseball, it's the number one offensive team in baseball. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're running it back because you got a lot of guys still in their prime. Cody Bellinger was a humongous sign. You had to have him back, given his versatility at 4 spots. And you got Cole coming back. You got Rodon coming back. The Weathers kid looked pretty sharp last night, showing a really good fastball up around 90. Close to, I think he hit 100 at least once, but I know he's around 99. So I don't, I understand there were some attractive names out there. What I've liked to see Bo Bichette, who, over the years I've spoken to a lot. What I've liked to see him. Yeah, but, he goes to the Mets, and the Phillies thought they had him. I have no real issues with what the Yankees did. It's a good group. I think that Caballero will be able to hold down the fort. Caballero and whomever else should be able to hold down the fort till Volpe comes back. Volpe doesn't produce, they'll move somebody in there. So it's still a good team. They didn't do super well against a lot of the playoff teams last year, but hey, 94 wins still got them tied with Toronto for the best, most wins in the American League, and 3rd or 4th in all of baseball. So it's not like they were a bunch of stiffs that are coming back. This is it's a good ball club. Come on.
Yeah, it's like, they're still pretty good, and you got to be in it to win it, so you just got to get into the playoffs. And I still think the Yankees, when all is said and done, if they have to make some moves during the season, they will. They're at the very, very worst a wild card team, and you got to be in it to win it. And I think the Yankees have put together a really good squad. But you look at, to me, the most important thing that they needed in the offseason to happen was bringing back Cody Bellinger. If there ever was a perfect fit for the Yankees, they get him last year, and he becomes a terrific player on and off the field. And I think if for any Yankee fan, the fact that they were able to bring him back and keep him in the middle of that lineup, I think was huge for this team.
Well, if you're not satisfied with that move, you're a fool. Plain and simple. There's not much more to add to that.
Yeah, no question about it. And in the middle of spring training, we've got the World Baseball Classic that's going on. So Aaron Judge and a couple other Yankees are going to depart Tampa to be involved with either the United States or other teams. Are you a fan of the World Baseball Classic?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern, like everybody, is don't get anybody hurt. But and you consider that pitchers and the adrenaline's going to be flowing big time. So again, you just hope nobody gets hurt. It's a great showcase for baseball, and I'm looking forward to taking it in.
And Aaron Judge is going to be the captain of the United States team, and he looks great in that red, white, and blue uniform with the 99 on the back. And he's coming off of back-to-back MVPs. He's won 3 already as a Yankee. And you keep asking, what is this guy going to do for an encore? And he just keeps on keeping on it. Have you ever, and you spent a lot of time in Seattle with the Mariners, but I can't imagine ever being around a player, as dynamic and as good as he has been for the Yankees since he first put on the pinstripes.
Well, I mean, it's plain as day. I mean, a guy is a generational player. He and Ohtani are the 2 best players on the planet right now. And Judge continues to put up numbers. Again, you look at his numbers, and there's black numbers all through his ledger. It tells you how good he is and the impact that he has had. He's a great player. I mean, I didn't say anything like that in Seattle. But I mean, but you don't 6'7", 280, ripped, who can run, who can throw, who's got 5 tools. Those guys aren't falling off trees anywhere. He's one of the great Yankees. He's one of the great players I've seen. I'm a lot older than you are. I've seen Mason, Mantle, and Aaron, and Robinson, and Torrey, and you go up and down the line. But this guy's one of the all-timers. There's no doubt about it.
We have a few minutes left with Dave Sims, radio voice of the Yankees on WFAN, and you can talk about this current edition of the Yankees and how far they can go this year. But you also, and a lot of Yankee fans keep a close eye on what's going on in the minor leagues, and at least in this spring training, they're getting a real close look at 2 top prospects. That's Spencer Jones and George Lombard, and Lombard flashed a little leather so far this year in spring training. Spencer Jones hit that mammoth monster home run the other day. When you see these 2 guys, how cool is it to think and project ahead to when these guys are wearing Yankee pinstripes?
I don't believe in all that projection. When those dudes are when they're ready, they'll be ready. When they come up, they'll produce or not. People were always talking about, when I was in Seattle, oh, wait till we see this guy, wait till we see these guys. Small percentage of guys are going to make it, and a smaller percentage of guys are going to be superstars. But in my attitude, given, I'm a major league broadcaster, I don't have time to sit there and wish upon a star. I'm wishing and hoping that they turn out to be good players, but I don't get gushy over, oh, wow, he's coming. It's when he gets there and they produce, then I get excited. But until that point, it doesn't mean anything to me.
I think last year, Dave, Aaron Boone may have done his best job managing the Yankees last year because there were so many things that could have gone south for the team, and people can say what they want about him. And I've been critical of him as well over the years, but he has done nothing but win since he's become Yankee manager. And he hasn't won a world championship, but he got them to a World Series. And I thought last year keeping that team together and setting them up for that late season surge to try and win the division. And now he's back again for another year this year with another really, really good team. I don't think Aaron Boone gets enough credit for the job that he has done with the Yankees over the years.
What is that? I think he's had 1 losing season. They've had a bunch of June swoons. They came out of it this past season to get to the playoffs the year before they got to the World Series. He's doing something right. Yep. I mean, you can sit there and quibble all you want. He's got a talented team. And if they perform at their max, they're a hell of a team. And it's not his fault. There was, when we went to Toronto, got crushed at July 1, 2, 3, and 4. Bad pitching, not enough hitting, not enough defense. That's not his fault. I mean, everybody is so quick in talk radio here in New York and up and down the East Coast and the I-95 corridor. When in doubt, take a shot at the manager. Make sure that you know what the hell you're aiming at. I mean, the bitching and moaning that goes on about what certain managers do. it's sometimes it's insane and illogical. And again, when the guys don't perform, it's not necessarily his fault. Maybe a move here you can have a problem with, but to just say, just automatically it's his fault. I mean, who do you want in there? I mean, he's a guy that was a baseball lifer. he's been around the game as a player, as a broadcaster, and he's as a manager. I mean, and I have a nice relationship with him. I had a nice relationship with him when I was in Seattle because we had always talk Eagles football because he's an Eagle fan like I am. He's born and raised in the Philly area. But the bitch and the moaning that goes on about this guy, I just don't get it. They're always competitive, and you're not going to go 161-1. So freaking get over it. I mean, it's like
161-1. Dave, 161-1. There are some people who call the sports radio shows, and the Yankees lost one game the whole season.
Pete, trust me, I've got plenty of FAN, NBC. I know. I probably a lot of the same people you're still talking to. So believe me, let's not be ridiculous here. And I know people like to vent on that. When in doubt, you got to have somebody to blame. Sometimes it's the freaking players, and guys have bad years. It's not. You're not playing a video game.
I know. Yeah, it's not, you're not playing MLB The Show or Madden or anything like that. It's real life baseball. I wanted to switch gears really quick before I let you go, and because you do a lot of Big East basketball. Dave, what the heck happened to St. John's last night?
It was a cold night in UConn. UConn's pretty dang good. You got to remember they got to the Elite Eight last year. Mm-hmm. And you think they weren't motivated after the ass kicking they took at the Garden earlier in the month. So yeah. I mean, I didn't, I think the thing that's wild, and I watched the game, they never had a counterpunch. They never responded after getting knocked down. And I thought that was a really bad job on their part. Now, Pitino afterwards said, it's on me. I'm not buying that either. Mm-hmm. You had Connecticut running free and wild, doing what they wanted when they wanted, and there was no response. Hence a 30-point butt kick.
And it's kind of like when, a trifecta of heavyweight championship fights, it was, Ali Frazier or whatever it is, you split the first two and you get that third one. And now all eyes are going to be potentially on the Big East final, the Big East tournament final, if these two teams hook up again.
Let me tell you something. Here's the biggest key. I don't know who they have next, but they better be ready for that next
Villanova, game. I think, on Saturday.
Villanova. Okay. I think it's up here, right?
Yeah, the Garden.
Yeah. All right. So that's going to tell you, you can only imagine how tough today's practice and tomorrow's practice is going to be. So that is going to be, throwing chairs kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They'll be ready, and I think they'll answer the bell. But that was embarrassing the way, you're going to win, you're going to lose. But when you get your butt kicked like that on national TV, that's not good.
No question about it. Dave, I can't thank you enough for spending a few minutes. I know you have a busy schedule, so I'll let you go and hopefully see you in the Bronx when the Yankees come north.
I'll be there. All right, Pete. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave. Dave Sims heading into his second year as the Yankees radio voice on WFAN. And by the way, he does a fabulous job on the basketball. There's not too many people that call college basketball like Dave Sims can. I had to throw that St. John's question in there at the end because that was that they got their butts kicked last night. And yes, no question, UConn was out for blood after what happened at the Garden a couple of weeks ago. But man, oh man, did St. John's did not come to play. And by the way, that game last night was not on UConn's normal home court in stores on campus. They played that in Hartford, whatever that arena is called now, People's Bank Center or Arena or something like that. Where the Hartford Whalers used to play many, many years ago. So they had a full house there last night, and it was a tough situation. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if St. John's lost a close game there last night, but I was shocked because I was watching something else on TV last night, and I don't have Peacock, so I couldn't watch the game. And how big of a disgrace is that you had two of the hottest teams in college basketball, and that game was only on Peacock last night. And people say, "Oh, you cheapskate, Peter, go get Peacock for a day or something like that." No, there were other things to do last night anyway, but we'll get back to St. John's over the weekend. But they got absolutely hammered and destroyed. Before I take a break, one other Yankee note that I didn't get to with Dave because we only had a short amount of time with him. Well, I don't know, and I didn't put this on the flash because I wanted to make sure I had a couple of minutes to talk about it. Did you see the quote today from Giancarlo Stanton and Tony Walker, my producer and the host of the Knock 'em Dead comedy show here on Governors from 11 to 12:30 Monday through Friday? Giancarlo Stanton told reporters today at spring training that he is having a difficult time. He cannot open up a bag of chips. and he cannot open up a bottle of water. Now, I don't have a bag of chips with me. Do you have a bag of chips over there anywhere?
Nope, just the cookies.
Just the cookies? Yeah, well, I could open up the box. That's easy. But yeah. But like Giancarlo Stanton told reporters today in Tampa at spring training that because of the elbow problems, he cannot open up a bottle of water.
Wow.
Or he cannot open a bag of potato chips. And but says he wants to go the whole season without missing any time. He feels he can play an injury-free season. And I'm thinking to myself, do we have anything that resembles a baseball bat around here?
Yeah, there's a baseball bat right there.
Oh, there's a baseball bat. How nice. Oh, asking each other, where did this bat come from?
Hirschman.
It's Hershey's. Okay. So you're Giancarlo Stanton. Again, I'm no baseball player. I mean, this would be a better tutorial from my son Jared, who's a terrific baseball player, and Bradley played Little League Baseball as well, and they both obviously are avid stickball players now. But if you're Giancarlo Stanton and you cannot open up a bottle of water and you cannot open up a bag of potato chips, how in the world are you taking this bat and hitting a 500-foot home run with it? You know what? I'll take a 320-foot home run over the right field porch. I'll take some doubles up the alley, right? Tell me how, like, again, and I'm no physical therapist or anything like that, and and I'm not an expert on the human body, but it would seem to me that if you can't open up a bottle or you can't open up a bag of chips, it would be very, very difficult to swing a bat with any kind of consistency or effectiveness. Tony, were you surprised with the words I just...
Very much
he's
so.
eating a chocolate bar right now. It's not a Reggie bar, though.
It's not a Reggie bar.
Not a Reggie bar. They came back a couple of years ago, the Reggie bars. Mm-hmm. Oh, they were great. I loved it. But yeah, anyway, I was like, how is Giancarlo Stanton going to hit a baseball if he can't open up a bottle and a bag of chips? And listen, again, I think when any season starts for the Yankees, you take what you can get from Giancarlo Stanton at this point until that albatross of a contract is off the books for the Yankees. You just have to deal with it. So when we come back here on the program, we are going to talk about the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We're going to have What's Hot at ticketbash.com. Later in the show, at around 1:40, we're going to be joined by Indoor Football League broadcaster Ari Wolfe. I did not bring a football with me for a prop for that interview, so we'll have to make do without a prop for that particular interview, but that's coming up a little bit. We'll be back. And we're going to get your phone calls, 516-465-3990. We'll take a swing at that when we come back right after this. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage.
In 1982, the Marty Lyons Foundation began with a single heartfelt mission: to bring moments of joy and hope to critically ill children by granting wishes that make their dreams come true. Since that day, we have touched the lives of over 8,600 families, raising over $44 million to grant wishes that offer a beacon of light in their darkest times. These precious wishes cost an average of $7,100 each, and your support is crucial to our mission. Every donation, big or small, makes a difference. And with 84 cents of every dollar going directly to supporting our families, you can rest assured your support truly changes lives. The Marty Lyons Foundation operates 11 chapters in 14 states now, working tirelessly to reach as many children as we can. This dedication goes hand in hand with our commitment to transparency and accountability, earning us top ratings on Charity Navigator, Great Nonprofits, and Candid, which underscores our dedication to those we serve. The Marty Lyons Foundation grants wishes to children ages 3 to 17. And what really makes this foundation so special is our willingness to grant not only a first wish, but also consider a second wish to a child who continues to battle a life-threatening illness. We stand by these children, offering them hope and strength through the power of dreams, giving our children the courage to wish for more.
What's your purpose in life? Is your purpose in life to live in the big house and drive the nice car? No. Your purpose in this life is to make it a little bit better for those that follow and realize that we live for today to see a better tomorrow.
Visit MartyLyonsFoundation.org to learn more and get involved.
Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. I'm Peter Schwartz. 516-465-3990 is the number to call. And again, many thanks to Yankee broadcaster Dave Sims for spending a few minutes with us to talk Yankees and a little bit of St. John's from that game last night against UConn. Before Dave joined us, I was talking about the Olympics, and I was making a point about, hey, Canada's a little angered by this whole thing. And listen, I can understand it's their game, but come on, man, give the United States some flowers. That was it was so enjoyable to watch, and what a terrific team. And listen, and Canada, obviously no slouch. And by the way, again, all joking aside, Canada did dominate that game, but it was a little pissy by Nathan McKinnon afterward when he said, well, you be the judge of who dominated most of that game. Well, yeah, you know what? You did. But you didn't put the puck in the net. And that's why I don't like the crying coming from Canada about, the better team didn't win. Well, on the scoreboard at the end of the game, it was USA 2, Canada 1 in overtime. Same with the women, too. Well, they win in overtime. It's not the old BCS in college football where you get style points. Well, Canada dominated 78% of the game. It doesn't work that way. And believe me, I've been on the other end of that with teams that I've rooted for. That you're like, how did they lose that game? And that's what people in Canada are trying to figure out. How did they lose that game on Sunday? Well, you know how you lost that game on Sunday? You had a 5-on-3 power play for a minute and a half. 5-on-3. And you had all those really, really good players on Canada. The Nathan McKinnons of the world, Connor McDavid's. All those guys. It's an all-star team. And again, so is the United States. The United States, again, the people in Canada that are pissed off thinking that the USA sucks in hockey. I mean, take a look at our roster. This is not, you're not playing, some third world nation that doesn't know how to play hockey. Some of the best players in the NHL now are American. So I can't stand, the better team didn't win. You had a 5-on-3 power play for a minute and a half, and you didn't score. And then you hear, and I'm going to be careful with how I say this because Tampa Bay Lightning head coach and the coach of Team Canada, John Cooper, and we send condolences and thoughts and prayers to him and his family because his father passed away the other day, so he did not coach the Lightning last night, and he won't coach them again tonight. So, again, I will preface what I'm saying by, on behalf of everybody here at Sports Bash and Governor's Comedy Club, deepest condolences to John Cooper, who's a great guy and an outstanding coach, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, and obviously going through some sadness with his family. But he came out after the game and said, well, it's a TV-driven, format for overtime 3-on-3, and I get it. And I'm telling the truth here. I'm watching the game with my son Bradley. Before overtime started, I said to Bradley, this is not a way to decide the Olympic gold medal. It's not. I hate 3-on-3 hockey in the NHL. I don't like it at all. It's not hockey. It's like it's like ending a, and you go from 3-on-3 overtime to the shootout. It's like ending baseball with home run derby. Like, could you imagine if you go 9 innings. Now you get the stupid ghost runner for 10th inning. Let's say you was no winner after 10 innings. You go to home run derby to decide a baseball game. I mean, that's no way to decide a game, especially for a gold medal. But and Canada's crying about it, and they had on the ice at the same time Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, and Cale Makar. 3 of the best players in the world, and in Connor McDavid, the best player in the world. You had the 3 of them on the ice to start overtime. And you don't get the job done. And thank God for Connor Hellebuck, man. Do you see that save he made? What a great save. And we're going to get a little bit more on the Connor Hellebuck save in a little bit, thanks to Coach's Collectibles. But in a second, Tony, don't get nervous there. Don't get itchy trigger finger on the buttons. But just it was just so wonderful and so cool to see that. And I'm going to the Islander game on Sunday night, and I'm sure the Islanders are going to honor their Olympians too, Andre Palat and Bo Horvat. Bo Horvat played on Team Canada, but also they're playing the Florida Panthers, so Matthew Tkachuk is going to be in the building. So I'm just like, last night, the Devils and Jack Hughes brought Tage Thompson over from the Sabres bench to be part of the ceremony. I would like to think the Islanders are going to mention Matthew Tkachuk on Sunday night as well. So I just can't get over how cool that was to see the USA come away with the gold medal against Canada. Let us get to the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. It's brought to you by the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Every customer is considered family at the Embassy Diner. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. We post a new question every Tuesday and Thursday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. And here's the question. I had another question, and I decided to change it. It was a game time decision this morning. That's why I had to cross it out in the script. I know you don't have all of my chicken scratch there, Tony, but I wrote it as best I could on mine. So this is the question, and I'm gonna have to translate this for Tony because he can't read my chicken scratch.
It's true.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I had terrible handwriting. Guilty as charged. So with CC Sabathia having his number retired by the Yankees this year, I thought about there are 4 examples in New York sports history where a team has retired the same number twice. It's happened 4 times. It happened with the Yankees retiring number 8 twice, Yogi Berra and Bill Dickey. The Knicks retired 15 twice for Earl the Pearl Monroe and Dick McGuire. The Rangers, and they have 2 examples of this with the Rangers. They retired 11 for Mark Messier and Vic Hadfield, and they retired number 9 for Adam Graves and Andy Bathgate. Now, here is the question. Of those 4 combinations, what's the best combination of the 2 players together? I don't know if I didn't get a lot of response to it. I put it up early this morning on Twitter, and not as many people responded as usual, so maybe I didn't explain it as well as I needed to. But take those 4 combinations. Which is the best 1-2 punch of retired numbers? Is it the Berra Dickey, Monroe McGuire, Messier Hadfield, and Graves Bathgate? And listen, again, I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but you think of all the World Series rings that Yogi Berra won with the Yankees. So I'm going to go with the Yogi Berra, Bill Dickey, number 8. Tony, who's a student of the sports history, and there's only the one baseball example on there. But of those 4, who would you pick?
I'm leaning towards agreeing with you, although in my opinion, the Rangers are a close second.
They are, because you have Mark Messier, who basically was hired by the Rangers to come and win a Stanley Cup. Earl Monroe, Dick McGuire is a pretty good combination as well.
Right. Yeah.
And we could have another one coming up very, very soon. Because a few years ago, the Islanders, after they made amends with John Tonelli, in the same year, the Islanders retired John Tonelli's number 27 and also Butch Goring's number 91. Now, it would take a miracle for the Islanders to retire John Tavares number 91. That's unless he comes back, like whenever his deal is, or if something happens and John Tavares finishes his career with the Yankees and they kiss and make up, then maybe Islander fans will, like myself, because I can't stand him for leaving. I don't think that would ever happen unless it's a certain circumstance. But 27 retired for John Tonelli. They retired it even though Anders Lee was already wearing it. And at his speech, he said, Anders, maybe your number 27 will be retired someday too. And I think there is a pretty good chance of that happening, where Anders Lee and John Tonelli will be two Islanders who have their number retired. Really quick, what's hot at ticketbash.com before we get to Ari Wolfe. Get the best seats at the best prices with no service fees at ticketbash.com. On Saturday, the Red Bulls play their home opener against New England at 2:30. Saturday night, St. John's hopes to bounce back from that butt-kicking last night. They host Villanova. Sunday afternoon, the Knicks host the Spurs at 1 o'clock. Sunday night, the Islanders host the Panthers. It's Star Wars night, so may the Schwartz be with you on Sunday night with the Islanders. They're giving away Star Wars shirts at the game on Sunday night. I bet dollars to donuts it won't even get on my finger, the shirt that they're going to give away. But in any event, we're going to bypass the commercial break, and we're going to get to our guest, who I'm sure would love to have a Star Wars shirt. Maybe he can have mine if it doesn't fit the one that I'm going to get on Sunday night, because we go back a long way, my next guest and I, back to the early days of the Arena Football League, and I am so excited that we're going to be working again together this year as part of the Indoor Football League 2026 broadcast team on Yahoo. I want to welcome to the show an old friend of mine and still a very good friend of mine, Ari Wolfe. Ari, it's Peter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Peter. How are you? Great to see you guys and great to join you.
Thanks so much for coming on the show. Before we talk about the old days, and we'll get to that, but there is so much excitement about the Indoor Football League heading into the 2026 season with some really strong franchises, great ownership, and great management in this league, and a brand new television deal that will bring the game to more viewers than ever before. And just like myself, you are a lifer in this game of indoor football. How excited are you to be a part of this in 2026?
Well, I'm really excited. I'm really bullish on the commissioner, Todd Tryon. I think he's a really impressive guy. I think his stewardship of the league speaks for itself, the consistency. And I think that's really what we're looking for people who've worked in indoor football, is the consistency year after year, that you can count on leadership. Because the very best days of the Arena Football League, to me, were the David Baker years, because you could count on the guy in charge to make sure that everybody had a chance to be successful. And look, it's a whole nother generation has passed since we started in indoor football. So a lot of my favorite guys are now coaches in the indoor football league. So my week one matchup has Orlando at New Mexico. New Mexico's head coach is Kyle Moore Brown. I mean, we're brothers, and we were with the Firebirds together. We won a ring together. And then Rob Keefe is the coach in Orlando, and he was a DB on the Philadelphia Soul team that won an Arena Bowl. So the relationships with the coaches and some of the people who are working behind the scenes go way back for me, 20 plus years. So I'm excited to reconnect in person with a lot of these guys. And I've been incredibly fortunate. I've worked in football for more than 25 years, but there is something about the indoor game that has always drawn me. And what it comes down to is the intimacy of the roster, right? When you're with an NFL team, when I'm with the Kansas City Chiefs for the preseason, we got 90 guys. How are you supposed to really connect as an announcer with 90 guys? Well, when you only got 21 guys playing and you're only traveling with 21, you're like a family, right? You're together all the time. So the thing I'm really looking forward to is getting to know some of these players that I don't know yet. I can read about them, but I don't know them personally. And also the intimacy when you're actually on site at the game, because the field's so much smaller. I'm primarily going to be used as sort of a sideline reporter / analyst. I just love that I can be on the field during the game. I love that I have access to the coaches and the players, because we decided to blow up the traditional model when we used to do it and really get in the trenches with these guys. So, it's been a few years since I've gotten a chance to be down on the field. So that and seeing some of my old best friends in coaching positions has got me pretty jacked up for the season.
Yeah, I always, to follow up on your point, my 8 years with the New York Dragons, and people ask me why, because I say to anybody who would listen to me that the 8 years I spent with the New York Dragons in the Arena Football League and also doing some work for the league, it was the best job I ever had, Ari, and hands down. I've told you that before, and I don't think it's a surprise for you to hear it again. But when people say to me, well, what was so special about it? And I think you touched on this a little bit. It's the relationships you make along the way. I mean, over 8 years, I created so many relationships with people like yourself and the players and the coaches and the people who worked for the AFL. And I was at weddings and events with some of those players. And I had Dragons players were at my wedding. So it was a very, very special time to be involved, and I'm so grateful to be back involved with it. And like you said, there's so many familiar names that are still part of this sport. I think of Sid Bonner. Who went on to be a coach as well, and now he's back with the IFL as a broadcaster. I know he's buddies with you as well, but to have names like that involved with the IFL is just tremendous.
Tremendous. I mean, Sid's one of my all-time favorite guys, and I love to share this story because I think it's a great example of the relationships we're talking about. So for the most of Sid's career, I just knew him as a great quarterback. The Firebirds went and played in Arizona a few times. We usually got our butts kicked because Sid was so good. So Sid was then retired, and I was working at NFL Network, and NFL Network got the rights to Arena Football Friday night. So there were Friday night games. I think I don't know what point in the season, but I got an unsolicited email from Sid saying, hey, I'd love to be involved. I'll do anything. Just help me get in the door. Well, I went to my boss at NFL Network the very next day, and I said, look, while I don't have a personal relationship with Sid Bonner, all I can tell you is he's the Troy Aikman of the league. Even if you hated the Cowboys and you hated Troy Aikman, everybody respects Troy Aikman because he's tough and the way he carried himself and his leadership. Well, to me, Sid Bonner was that guy for indoor football. So I went to him, gave a recommendation, and they immediately put Sid on the games. And then, his career has taken off since. We are super close friends. I'm a huge fan of him as both a broadcaster, as a former player. But he's a wonderful ambassador for indoor football, and I think he's a great get for the IFL.
No question about it. Talking to Ari Wolfe, legendary arena football and now indoor football broadcaster, and we're both going to be part of the Indoor Football League broadcast team this year, predominantly on Yahoo. And yesterday it was announced that Yahoo is going to pick up a few extra games, including the championship, and they have made a tremendous commitment to the sport, and I could not be more excited to be a part of this and to have a broadcast outlet with the name recognition of Yahoo making this kind of commitment to indoor football is just tremendous.
It is tremendous. I give a lot of credit to the leadership at the IFL. I mentioned the Commissioner Todd Tryon, but also Jared Widman, who's the president.
His name has been brought up on this show so many times. I'm actually getting sick of talking about Jared on the show. No, I'm only joking. Only a joke.
No, I just when he and Brent Stover came to me and pitched me becoming a part of their broadcast team, I was just very impressed with Jared, his vision, to bring in so many talented broadcasters, to assemble a roster, a broadcast team like we've never had in indoor football. Even in its heyday, I don't think we ever had this kind of volume of announcers that are coming in. And a lot of them will be fresh faces to IFL fans, and some will be familiar faces. But I'm impressed with Jared. I'm impressed with the vision, the IFL Cup that they're going to do in the middle of the season. That's showing some bravery, right? That's taking some chances to get some eyeballs and get people engaged. They're doing it just like the NBA does, the in-season tournament. So I just think that they're at this critical juncture. This is an inflection point in IFL history where they've said, look, we know our product is good, but we want to share it with more people. How do we do that? Let's partner with Yahoo. So I'm excited. I'm exhilarated at the prospect of what this is going to mean going forward. Once this relationship takes off, people get a chance to see how well produced the games are, how great these players are, how great these organizations are. But yeah, it took a lot of hard work. But I think that the league this will be its most important season to date. And I know both of us are excited to be a part of it.
No question. You brought up the IFL Cup, and I was going to bring that up actually next, so a great segue. And it's going to take place at the American Dream there in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. And you and I were both part of another game that took place there a couple of years ago. And it's an interesting, very, very intriguing atmosphere for an indoor football game. There's been other sporting events that have taken place there as well. There was a professional women's hockey team that played there. The Harlem Globetrotters had a residency at American Dream. They play some high school basketball playoff games there in New Jersey at that facility. And you were there that night and were a part of it. It makes for a very intriguing atmosphere for an indoor football game.
Well, let me just be as transparent as I can. When I was first told about the idea several years ago, I thought, this is a terrible idea. What are we doing? We're going to play
by the way, I had the same reaction to it, 100%.
And then it was really cool. Like I love the intimacy of it. I mean, all the fans were just right on top of the field. The lighting was great. It had a different kind of atmosphere. I was completely sold on it 5 minutes into the game. And, that was an important moment also as well. Our friend Sid Bonner was the offense coordinator. His team won the title. So, I know that was an important day in his indoor football history. But it's really cool. I think it's going to look great again on TV. I think with the IFL branding behind it, it's going to be the best it's ever been there. And look, it's in the greatest media capital of the world, right? I mean, New York City is across the way. So I think just taking those kind of bold steps, right, and really trying to put your product out there. Because, look, they know the game is great. One thing I've never doubted is that indoor football is a great sport. Look, I love offense, so it's always been something that I've enjoyed. I like to see scores in the 50s and 60s. So I just think that it's getting the right platform to display this great sport and this great league. And I just think the partnership with Yahoo, we're all going to look back on it, and that was a really significant moment in both the present of the league and looking forward.
No question about it. A couple of minutes left with Ari Wolfe. One more thing about our arena indoor football days. Going back, you were with the Albany Firebirds and Indiana, and obviously went on to the Philadelphia Soul, and and did a lot of national broadcasts. And I just mentioned before that I was with the New York Dragons for 8 years. When you think back to the original Arena Football League, it got so big so fast. You mentioned David Baker's name before. There were so many wonderful memories about the original Arena Football League, and for you, you were involved in a couple of championship teams. Is there a memory or two that sticks out for you from your time with the original Arena Football League?
Well, yeah, I'll do one from each of the two franchises I started with. So, in August of 1999, working for the Albany Firebirds, it was just my second year in arena football. The people that were a part of that organization are some of the best people I've ever known. The head coach, Mike Daly, to this day is one of the guys I look to as a role model. The way he led all of us, he made me feel like, well, here I was the radio guy in Albany, New York, that one day I might be calling Monday Night Football. And he instilled this belief that if you worked hard and you had integrity, and frankly, I don't know that I had the integrity I have now without Mike Daly. So, and also we had iconic stars like Touchdown Eddie Brown, Greg Hopkins, Mike Pulowski, Derek Stingley. So, but that day when the Firebirds won the title in August of 99 was just incredible. A level of happiness that I've never felt since, because it was just different. I felt so much a part of the team. I really, when we go do these IFL broadcasts, I'm going to give you everything I got, but whoever wins, it doesn't necessarily emotionally connect with me. When you're the radio guy of a team, it means everything to you, right? You know these guys, not just as people, but you know their family, you know their kids. So that moment in Albany will stand as my all-time favorite, and I hope I surpass it, but I doubt it. And then in Philadelphia, I can tell you that it was far different. It wasn't as intimate in the sense that we had really fancy ownership, with John Bon Jovi being a part of it, the Spencer family, Ron Jaworski, who's one of my all-time favorite people. That championship day, I was doing media in New Orleans in 2008, and I was scheduled to do it for hours before the game started. And you're going to love this. I was so anxious.
I really don't like much about the 2008 season, to be honest with you.
We can get to that in a minute. But I was so anxious for the outcome of the game, Peter, that I just said, guys, I can't do this other media. I've never done that in my career before or after. I just, my mind is totally on the game. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So I just remember even during the game, I wanted to fast forward to the fourth quarter because I'm like, whatever it is, I got to know I can't take it anymore. So just feel incredibly fortunate to have been in the right place at the right time. I mean, Albany set the stage for my entire football career. And then Philadelphia, Ron Jaworski basically single-handed got me the Philadelphia Eagles TV preseason gig, which was a huge moment for my career. So both of those franchises had huge impacts on my life. And then, the second part of arena football, when I started doing the national games of the week, having relationships with guys like Sid Bonner and Anthony Herron was just amazing. And look, I know
I'm doing a game with Anthony.
So go ahead. I knew we weren't going to do any interview together. So go ahead and say it. The Dragons should have won the game, or at least Larry Brackens didn't get in. He should have been at the 1 yard line with one play with 2 seconds to go. Look, I feel terrible about it. Every time I've seen Aaron Garcia since then, he brings it up. And look,
I'm going to tell you.
But look, for Philadelphia Soul fans, it was great, but the Dragons were the better team.
I'm going to tell you two funny stories about that. I can laugh about it to this day. So the Soul wins the Arena Bowl in New Orleans, and you looked over from the Soul radio booth, and I was doing the national call for Sirius, and you had this big smile on your face and everything, whatever. So you go downstairs to do your on the field stuff. We are waiting in the booth. David Baker is going to come on with us for the wireless microphone down on the field, and we're in commercial, and David Baker puts the headset on me. Wayne Morris, who was my Dragons partner, did the game with me. And we're like, David, are you there? He's like, yeah, he goes, yeah, just 1 minute. We're going to be in commercial. And he goes, Peter, before you come back from commercial, you must really have enjoyed this today. And I'm like, the one thing about David Baker, he's a great commissioner, but he also had a great sense of humor because he knew how upset I was about the game a couple of weeks earlier. The other funny thing about that was, Ari, is that summer, Larry Bracken's got invited to training camp with the Jets, and I'm covering Jets training camp, and somebody comes up to me, another Jet rider came up to me and said, do you know anything about this arena football guy that got signed by the Jets today? And I'm like, who? He goes, Larry Bracken's. I'm like, oh no, Larry Bracken's. I actually went up to him to say hello, told him who I was, and we had a really good laugh about it.
I mean, it has one of the greatest nicknames of all time, Larry Boogie Brackens. I mean, who doesn't want to nickname Boogie? Especially for a guy who is 6'5". You don't usually have those kind of hips at 6'5". But,
no.
Boogie's a legend in my mind. What an incredible athlete and a great guy. And I love my time with him.
Really quick, and this kind of encompasses our lives in football. Matt Nagy is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Giants, and of course, I go back with him when he was a Dragons quarterback years ago. But you got to spend some time with him as the Kansas City Chiefs preseason TV announcer, and he had some tremendous success with the Chiefs, obviously, with the Super Bowls and all the success under Andy Reid. What kind of coordinator are the Giants getting in Matt Nagy?
Well, they're getting a true professional and a class act. My first encounters with Matt was actually in the Arena Bowl. They were playing San Jose. He was playing for Columbus. Mm-hmm. So I'm down on the field talking to him, and I thought, boy, I like this guy. There's something about him. And then, we both end up with the Chiefs. And I think that anybody who's worked in indoor football and then we reach another level and then you see a guy at an NFL game in whatever capacity they're doing, there's a brotherhood, right?
Yeah.
There's a, hey, I'm seeing what you're doing, and I'm excited about what you're doing. So there's just so many examples of that where the relationship of seeing somebody from indoor football and then you get to graduate to the NFL. And, watching Matt with the Kansas City Chiefs was a real treat for me. I mean, every time I'd show up at training camp, he'd run over and say hello, and we'd reminisce about the old days. But they're getting a great offense coordinator. He's level-headed. I think that he's a different guy than he was as the head coach of the Bears. I think he's even smarter and will have a better approach to it. And look, like in Kansas City, I think it had run its course. I think this is the perfect time for him to go there. He's got a great head coach in John Harbaugh. I think he's one of the best in the business. As an Eagles fan, I'm not that excited that the coaching staff has improved for the Giants. But I'm always going to root for Matt Nagy, one of my all-time favorite indoor football league player guys, and White played in the arena. I think of them all as indoor football guys. And I love Matt, and I think he's going to do well. And I think the Giants are going to really improve dramatically with this new staff.
No question. Ari, thank you so much for spending some time with me on the show, talking about the IFL and also going down memory lane a little bit. And can't wait to see you at an arena somewhere soon when the season starts.
That'd be great. I appreciate spending time with you. It's great to reminisce about the old days, and I treasure our friendship and that old rivalry between the Dragons and the Soul. It was one of the best of my career.
It certainly was. Thank you so much, Ari. I'll see you soon.
See ya.
Ari Wolfe, legendary arena football broadcaster, and we'll be working together in the Indoor Football League this season. Really quick, because we're going to run some overtime here, I think, and Tony has given me the nod that it's A-OK. He doesn't have any appointments after the show, so or do you?
I do.
Okay, it'll be a couple minutes. I said we're going to run through this. First of all, because it's getting close to lunchtime for me. It's time for the Coach's Collectibles item of the week, and this is an absolute beauty. Connor Hellebuck, autographed framed photo from Coach's Collectibles. This is great. Again, he plays for the Winnipeg Jets, but to so many hockey fans in the United States now, he is on the USA hockey team, and that would be a terrific item to have. Coaches Collectibles, your number one source for 100% authentic sports memorabilia and live public autograph events. Connor Hellebuck, save of the century autographed framed photo. Coaches Collectibles' next public autograph event will be with Chaz Palminteri on Wednesday, March 25th. At Fox Hollow Country Club in Woodbury. Photo opportunities at 6:30. Then the autograph session is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So check out Coaches Collectibles online at www.coachescollectiblesny.com and use code SPORTSBASH for free shipping on all orders. Now, we were not on Tuesday because of the storm, but we're going to make up for it with a really great show tomorrow. And our guest tomorrow, coming off of calling both the men's and women's U.S. Olympic hockey team winning the gold medal in Italy, Kenny Albert, a friend of the program, has been on the show before. He is going to join us tomorrow to talk about the experience of calling those games, the notoriety he has received in the last week or so. And how about this? Him and Eddie Olczyk doing the gold medal game on Sunday. And last night, they're in Los Angeles calling the Kings and the Golden Knights for TNT. Kenny will get a couple of days off because the Rangers are on national TV for a couple of days. So we'll have Kenny on the show tomorrow to talk about the USA gold medals. This Tuesday, March 3rd, we got a great show again. I like to think all the shows are great, but again, that's just me because I'm the host. This Tuesday, March 3rd, I'll be joined by longtime baseball writer Ken Davidoff. He has a new book out called 101 Lessons from the Dugout. So we're going to talk to Ken on the show. Also on Tuesday, March 3rd, we're going to talk a little pro wrestling. Pro wrestler Mercedes Martinez is going to be on the show. She is headlining a pro wrestling show, Mercedes Rules, on March 7th at the Farmingville Fire Department. So you want to stay tuned for that on Tuesday. Next Thursday, March 5th, we're expected to be joined by New York Red Bulls head coach Michael Bradley. Congratulations to the Red Bulls on their season opening win in Orlando. Then on Tuesday, March 10th, Islanders MSG Network's host and reporter Shannon Hogan's going to join us here on the program. The Islanders, by the way, back in action tonight in Montreal. And before we say our goodbyes, just a couple things. Thoughts and prayers from everyone here in the Sports Bash and Governor's family. I know everybody in the New York area sends out their thoughts and prayers. Former Ranger Ron Duguay has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, 68 years old, former Ranger legend. His family has set up a GoFundMe page to help defray some of the costs for the medical care. So Ron's a great guy. I've had a chance to meet him a couple of times and interview him. I didn't like him very much when he played on the Rangers back in the day, but he is a really good dude, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and hopefully he can make a recovery from this just hideous disease. Nobody should have to go through the C word, and it's just awful, but we send our best to Ron Duguay. By the way, Ron was a guest this morning on my friend Sid Rosenberg's show on WABC. Oh, wow. So if he's doing media, I might have to give him a call. Maybe he'll come on the show next week. He's always a great guy to talk to, and would love to catch up with him. But he's going through a very difficult time right now, so we'll see if he's willing and able to come on. And one last thing, Islanders Hall of Famer Pat LaFontaine is giving back to the Long Island community once again. LaFontaine has partnered with Marianne Dolan Weber's Heartfelt Wings Foundation to provide a family lounge and comfort space for pediatric patients and their families at Good Samaritan University Hospital in West Islip. They are doing the ribbon cutting and dedication as we speak right now at the hospital. There'll be a large screen TV to watch movies and connect events for just like LaFontaine's Companions Encourage Foundation's Popular Santa Connection. So Pat LaFontaine continues to do great things in the community. Jim Johnson runs that foundation with him, and they do an absolutely wonderful job, and great to call Pat a friend, and we hope to have him on the program again as well. He recently was inducted into the Islanders Hall of Fame. And that is it. I wanted to make it in 5 minutes of overtime or less, and I think I did it. That'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and Ryan Anthony's Heating and Air Conditioning Service. Thanks to my guests, Dave Sims and Ari Wolfe. Thanks to Tony Walker and everyone here at Governors. Thanks to our social media coordinator, Leanne Burgess. Sports Bash is sponsored by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, Coaches Collectibles, and by the Marty Lyons Foundation. Thanks to everybody for watching. We are back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Sorry, Canada. USA!